So we're going to get right into it, but this is our opportunity to just pull back the curtains a little bit on functional medicine and share with you what coaching is like, some of the things that we talk about, how functional medicine is different.
So one of the things that we offer is our core health blood work panel, and it's very comprehensive. It gives Kim a lot of information about what you have going on. But a lot of people ask us over and over again, like, how is that different than what my provider's doing? And like, how are you getting different results than our providers? Which actually my kiddo just got his blood work back today, and he's normal in this and he's normal in that and he's normal in this, but he still doesn't feel good. So, I'm just kind of chuckling because, normal isn't optimal. And so, Kim, what are you looking for when you get those blood results back?
Yeah, so I tell people that there's a little bit of magic in the labs that I order. Most of it is made up of labs that you've had done your whole entire life. We look at them differently. We have different results. You cannot look at your labs in isolation. And this is not to beat up on traditional practitioners. That they're trained differently. I mean, I was trained that way. I had to go back to school to learn to do what I do now. They also have a time crunch. They've got 15 minutes for a really complex patient. They're looking visually at the lab that might be highlighted, or the value that is outside of that wide traditional range is highlighted in some way visually, so that they can just look at it. And honestly, it takes me a good hour, sometimes a little bit longer, depending on what you have going on, what your labs look like, to go through those. Your practitioner does not have time to do all of that. So the labs are a lot of the ones that you've had done. We do add some other ones like fasting insulin that your practitioner may not even order for you because they don't really know what to do with that, or how to teach you about that. Instead of, cholesterol has been vilified. We've talked about this many times. Cholesterol has been vilified. So instead of just getting a cholesterol panel, I do look at cholesterol because cholesterol is one of those things that will increase when you have inflammation in the body. So I look at it like, why is your cholesterol up? What is it trying to do for your body? So I look for other reasons for your cholesterol to be up. But I also do those things that actually do increase your cardiovascular risk. And those are some other markers like Lp(a), ApoB, homocysteine. Like, those are all markers that do actually increase your risk for cardiovascular disease. The other one that I look at is a magnesium, red blood cell magnesium. Red blood cell because it lives longer than just that snapshot of what's in your blood. And, it's in the literature that, whenever someone has a cardiovascular event, they look at your blood. Half the people have normal cholesterol, half the people have abnormal cholesterol. So that's why we say that it doesn't predict your risk. But when we looked at those people who had cardiovascular events, a majority of them, I want to say something like 78.9% of them actually had low magnesium. So that is something that increases your risk for cardiovascular events. So it's not the lab necessarily, although we do have some specialized labs, and our thyroid panel is also very specialized. We're not looking for antibodies and that sort of thing. What we're looking for is a metabolic reason that your cells would be slowing down your metabolism. And we find that in reverse T3. So it really is how we look at the labs, not the labs themselves. And I have people that want to know the labs, and I'm like, here's the labs, which is also why, in addition to ordering the core health panel, we do a lab review. We offer a lab review. Like, labs you've already had done, let me look at them.
Because what are you looking for? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like when we go to our doctors and we say, like, I'm lethargic, I'm tired all the time, I go to bed and I sleep and I still wake up exhausted. So they're looking for symptoms and not necessarily your whole body. So I feel like what you do that shines is that you're looking at all of these different pieces that are causing you to not feel good. And so, like, as a health coach, I take what Kim's saying, that she's seeing there's inflammation in your body, and that your body's having a hard time keeping up with all the toxic load you're putting on it. And so what I do after she just done the blood work is that we kind of look at your diet, like what might be causing inflammation in your body outside of what you have going on. So like gluten, or have you taken gluten out yet? Like that can be a huge inflammation in your body. And Kim's going to supplement things like, oh, maybe you need the omega-3 to help with the inflammation. So we're functional medicine, so we look at the whole body. So we're taking the blood work that's giving us all the clues, and then we're going to help you figure out how to make yourself feel better.
We're nutrition forward. So yeah, we'll probably recommend some supplements for you. But what I want you to do before we even do supplements is I want you to implement the nutrition changes, the lifestyle changes. It's about rhythm. It's about supporting your body, like how your body naturally functions. It's about getting back to that.
Mm-hmm.
And you cannot force your body to do what is unnatural for it to do. So you might go a while with only getting 3 or 4 hours of sleep a night. You're not going to be able to lose weight. You're going to have that pooch in your belly. You're going to be wired when you go to bed at night. You're going to be exhausted when you wake up in the morning. It doesn't matter if you're laying in bed for 8 hours. You're not getting that restorative sleep. Or you're going to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, or you're going to have those cravings, or you're going to have that afternoon crash. You have to sort of lean into the whole process. You can't just cherry pick what's easy. You really have to, all the things that Emily talks to you about. There's some things that I'm sure you see that people are like, yeah, I can do that. I can do that. I can do that. And then there's other things where they're like, no, this really has to be like, you got to do the whole thing. You got to buy the whole car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had somebody I know that's been talking to me for a couple months about like, I throw up all the time. I don't feel good. I've gone to every doctor. They've all given me a different diagnosis. They've all given me a different reason. I've had all this. And I said, why don't you send me your food journal that you have to take for your endocrinologist anyways, and I'll take a look. And so I looked, and it was all processed food. It was all carbs. It was all, gluten-rich stuff. And I said, you really should start with cutting out gluten and dairy and see how you feel. She said, well, this is the stuff that makes me, not be as nauseous, or that I can tolerate, or that I, feel like eating before I throw up. And I said, okay, that's just free advice. So you do you. So she came, like, we do a dance class together, and she came right in front, and she said, I figured out my problem. I said, great. I'm so happy to hear that. And she said, I cut out dairy and gluten. And I was like, oh, I'm so glad that's working for you. But if you did that 6 months ago, you would have felt so much better. And is there other stuff going on? Absolutely. I'm sure she has more that functional medicine could help her with. But sometimes, like, starting with easy diet stuff that everybody says, I can't possibly cut out gluten, I can't possibly cut out dairy. Well, then keep having the symptoms. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, the thing that's easy to do is also easy not to do, because you think it's so simple. I mean, it can't make that big of a difference. It makes a huge difference. I'll tell you, my trainer, her oldest daughter, I saw her the other day. I hadn't seen her in a couple of months, and I was like, oh my gosh, what did she do? She looks so good. She looks so different. She lost, I don't know how much weight, but what I noticed was her skin looked different, and her face did not look inflamed and puffy. And she said that she cut out gluten. And people are like, you may not have celiac disease, right, but gluten is such a toxin to the body that it is not what our grandparents ate. It is not that wheat any longer. No. It is genetically modified. And that's where we're also getting a lot of other toxins, because it is just, they spray so many pesticides, so stupid. And, if you try it, you're not going to die from not having gluten. You might die from having gluten, but you're not going to die from not having gluten. And honestly, I'm a bread lover. I mean, I'm a pasta lover. But after a while, you realize you feel so much better without it, that why would you go back to that?
Mm-hmm. No, my oldest was diagnosed like 2 years ago with having a gluten sensitivity. And, life gets busy. Everybody kind of falls off track, and he's almost 10, and it's really hard fighting with an almost 10-year-old that you can't eat that, you can't eat that, you can't eat that. And so, the past year I've been loosey-goosey. Not, we might keep the stuff at home that's healthy, but when he's out and about, how do you say no to a cheeseburger? It's his body, right? So I try to give him the choice, but we just got his blood work back, and all signs point to inflammation in the body. And it's like, well, where's this inflammation coming from? I know he's gluten intolerant, and he's having the gluten, and now he's having all these symptoms. So now it's like, well, it's going to be hard, but we got to cut back again, because it's making you sick, and it's not fair. And it's hard as a parent, and it's hard as us as individuals to, deprive ourselves from the things that we want. But at the end of the day, would you rather deprive yourself or be sick?
And not only that, when people think about functional medicine, they think about a lot of these like specialized tests. We do all of that. We
Mm-hmm.
do gut tests. I do a gut test on everybody that works with me. There's another really cool test that I do that looks at your white blood cells, and it looks at the nutritional, like what's missing, what vitamins, what amino acids, what, B vitamins, what's missing in your cell. And it actually measures your cell. So, what's in your blood is just being transported. It's just being carried in the blood. But what's on your white blood cells tells us a story about what's been going on over the last several months. So we can tell that this is not like something acute. This has been going on for months. And so when we say, hey, you really have to increase your protein, start your day with 30 grams of protein, have protein at every meal, put that on your plate first. Like there's a reason for that, but we can do that functional test. We do genetic testing, like we do all of the fancy functional tests. But honestly, I think some of the best information that I can give you is on those regular blood work. And the other one that we haven't talked about is the mineral testing. So I know that I think that was sort of the breakthrough for you.
Mm-hmm. There's any like sciencey geeks out there that, love learning. Like this is one of those tests that like you will love because you learn so much about you as your body as a functioning unit. You know what I mean? And again, it's not just this individualized like, oh, you're low in this, you're low in that, but like Kim explains to you why you're low in vitamin D, why you're low in vitamin C, why you have too much calcium, why that's not necessarily good for you. And so it's just a hair test, and you go through and you cut a few like strands of hair, and then you mail it to the lab, and the lab sends Kim the results. And from that, she makes you a custom blend of vitamins and minerals. And it's so important because I get this question all the time. What multivitamin do you use? I don't buy those over-the-counter vitamin and minerals because they could be so bad for you. Not just the quality of them, which that, is at surface level, but your specific body does not need what the average American body needs. You know what I mean? That's what those vitamins and minerals are based on. And so, you can go into more, Kim, about what vitamins and minerals they'll be getting back and how that's different than a multivitamin, but it really is unlocking a big question mark, I guess, that your body needs.
When we do hair tissue mineral testing, it really is biochemistry at its core. And we're looking at what is actually fueling your body, what's running your body's battery. Because all the things that we look at are ions, which means that they have either a positive or a negative charge. Where they are in the body, outside the cell, inside the cell, really depends on, really makes a difference in what function they have in the body. And then, if you ever have like a magnet, you could have 50 different like metal shavings around, and it's going to attract all of them, or it's going to repel some of them. And it's exactly the same thing. So that's why, just playing whack-a-mole with your minerals really isn't the thing to do. Because if you say, I need calcium, well, calcium is going to affect sodium, magnesium, phosphorus, all of those. And some it's gonna work synergistically and raise them, and some it's gonna lower them. So by just increasing or just supplementing that one mineral, now you might have created 3 other problems instead of, you may have corrected this problem, probably not, but you may have corrected this problem, but now you've created 3 other problems. So that's why when we do mineral testing, I strongly recommend that we don't even do the mineral testing until you know what it entails on the back end. And that is that custom mineral blend. And it is, where we replenish a little bit of all of your minerals all together in a concoction so that we can get everything functioning back to normal.
It's honestly a money saver in the long run. I know a lot of people are like, what's the cost? And I get that. But as somebody that has gone down every single rabbit hole possible, you know what I mean? Like your Facebook feed is popping up with, are you tired? Are you going to bed wide awake and up all night and waking up exhausted? And so you're like, oh, I do need magnesium. Oh, I do need vitamin D. Oh, I do need vitamin E. And so you start buying all these individual supplements, hoping that that's what's going to fix you. And I'm saying this because I'm one that did that. You know what I mean? All the cleanses, all these extra add-ons, the foot patches. But until you literally look at your own body and find out what you specifically are deficient in, you're wasting your money. And so a hair test that leads to a custom mineral blend for your body that's going to like fix you. And again, like Kim said, the blood tests are great. It gives us so much information, but your hair is giving us a year worth of information. So it's not just, that you didn't eat well the night before, you're dehydrated from, your fast or anything like that. Like, it literally, your hair is telling us what happened to you, the length of your hair. I can't speak highly enough about it because I just think it's just such a great, it's giving me energy, and they're like everything, there's side effects. You know what I mean? It's a titration system when you take the minerals. So you can't just take a full dose. Kim and I both learned that the hard way. Right.
Yes.
And why is that though?
We're
Kim? Like, what
hard-headed.
happened? Right. You're what?
And what
Sorry.
did you say? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I cut you off. I said, why can't you just go full stream and take the full dose?
Because it really depends on what's showing up on your hair tissue mineral analysis. But for a lot of people, minerals they affect each other. And so especially somebody that has a low calcium level, calcium is kind of like your gatekeeper to your cell. It sits on the outside of the cell. It's kind of the gatekeeper. And if your calcium level is low, then things can fly in and out of the cell and you feel that, like you're symptomatic with that.
Like anxiety. I know I was anxious. I said, oh, I can handle this. I'm like healthy. I can do this. I called Kim. I said, I'm going crazy. I'm crying. I'm anxious. Like, what is going on? And she was like, you didn't eat your way in. Like I told you, because you did the same thing, right?
Medical people are the worst.
So bad.
I just started like, oh, let me take these 50 capsules all in the first day.
Right.
And I also say too that, your body's going to be the limiting factor a little bit. So when we're talking about minerals, people are like, I gotta do another mineral test. Yes, you have to do another mineral test because we are actually supporting your body. And likely you've had these mineral deficiencies or imbalances for years, maybe even decades. So we're not going to correct those over time. Your body is going to limit how quickly it can correct things. The other thing is because your body also has to eliminate anything that's excess. Heavy metals are big mineral mimickers. So they sit on your receptor sites. So when you start flooding your system with minerals, you push off those heavy metals. So you also have to do some things that support, like hydrate, sleep, move your body. You may need to do a vibration plate. We might need to do some extra like liver support kind of stuff while you're detoxing, because you can actually start detoxing these heavy metals. You got to be able to eliminate them. And your body is never going to release something from fat cells or from receptor sites faster than what you have the capacity to eliminate, because that's toxic to the body and it's not going to poison itself. It's going to slow that process down, which is why I say replenishing your minerals can be a little bit like watching paint dry. But for some people, we'll be chugging along and then we'll get that and everything has gotten a whole lot better. So it's just, you have to reach that capacity where your body is supported enough so that it can actually do what it's meant to do. And that's what we want to help you do, is thrive, because that's what we're not meant to wake up tired. We're not meant to feel like we have to eat something every 90 minutes. We're not meant to drag ourselves through the day or to reach for caffeine or sugar to fuel our bodies, because what we're actually doing is not fueling our bodies when we're doing that.
I'll say one last thing and then I got to run off to the spring concert I found out about 20 minutes ago. Anyways, I hear you said that you have to do this minerals a little bit, it's over time. It's not immediate. It's not just one order that lasts 3 months and then you're done. Like I'm on my second round. But if you think about it, like our goal is to get you off things. Whereas if you go to your normal doctor, they put you on a prescription. That's it. You own that prescription. That is yours for the rest of your life because those symptoms are not going away. And that's to help with those symptoms. Where we're the opposite. We want to get you off everything. So, maybe omega-3 the rest of your life, sure, to help with inflammation in the body because we're exposed to so many toxins on a daily basis. Like, sure, maybe 1 or 2 supplements that's really good for you throughout, right? But that's not the goal. So the mineral goal is not to be on these minerals forever. It's to get you balanced and feeling good. And so I think that's really the big takeaway of this, is that we're here to heal you. We're here to make you feel your best. We're here to make your body be supported so it can, progress and be its best. And that's our goal in functional medicine. Because I do hear sometimes like, oh, functional medicine is the same as my PCP. They just put me on all this stuff. Well, if you're doing it the right way, our goal is to put you on these things to get you off these things, to support your body and your immune system.
Yeah. All right, go. I
Go
hope.
with All right. Have a great
Thanks,
Tuesday,
Emily.
Kim.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.